we are very true to our mission when it comes to the things that we carry in the store. Oftentimes people will say, oh, you should carry this and that, like that would really sell well. And we just don't carry things just because they'll sell well. And I'd rather be very true to what my person is looking for.
Hello, everyone. It's Sean from Thrive with another episode of The Power Up, where I meet with successful small business owners and operators to learn about their business strategy so you can take their insights and level up your own business. Once your business is ready to expand, knowing where to start can be overwhelming. Our guests have some creative solutions for how they've tackled tricky problems and turned them into growth opportunities. Now, let's dive into today's episode.
All right. Hello, everyone. Our guest today is Christine Howard from the Healing Hedge Witch in Tarpon Springs, Florida. Christine opened her first storefront in 2021 to make a space that focuses on wellness, spiritual healing, and personal growth. There's no surprise here that it became an instant success, and her team's dedication to the customer experience in store and online has allowed her to expand the business. Christine now operates multiple channels, such as workshops in wholesale, and she recently opened a second storefront, which is called Spellcrafter. And Spellcrafter is actually run by her daughter, Madison. So, Christine, you ready to get started with us today?
Yes.
All right. So my first question for you is, I just want to know about the name of the business. So where did the Healing Hedge Witch come from?
Oh, this is one. I don't know if you're ready for the answer. So
I'm ready.
In the summer of 2020, during the pandemic, I was walking my dog, and just the idea for the store and the name of the store and everything, when I say it just came into my head, and I couldn't shake it. And as someone who spent 20 years building a manufacturing business that makes equipment for water and wastewater treatment plants, you can imagine that is a far cry from a metaphysical retail shop. And all I could think is retail is stupid. I don't want to be in retail. Why would I do that? It's so much work for so little payoff. I think I just had that in my mindset from just things I'd heard. It was from nothing I really knew in reality because I'd never done it. I just thought, oh, why would you do that? That's got to be a hard business. And I just couldn't shake it. And it took me about 6 weeks of just, it kept coming back. It kept coming back. And the name, I could see the logo. I could see it all right in my head. And I have been since given the message from people. Obviously, I draw a lot of psychics, mediums, angel readers, you name it. They come into my shop. And at least 3 have come in to tell me that Archangel Michael wants me to know that he gave me the name. So there you go.
Very cool. That's a great story.
It came from the ether.
Okay. It wasn't your dog while you're on the walk with your dog barking at you and
nope.
hearing the Healing Hedge Witch from the dog? Okay.
Nope. She was being quiet. It was just, I think that really it was just during the pandemic, I suddenly was working from home. I wasn't commuting every day to my office. I had a different type of time, and that gave me a different type of headspace where I just wasn't so busy, and it was just gave it space to come.
Okay. Great. And I know, so my next question, I know you and I were chatting a little bit before we jumped on, but you mentioned a particular problem that you struggled with in your business that you believe other business owners struggle with. And it sounds like something to do with multiple locations, and managing their inventory sets across the 2 different locations. So talk to me a little bit more about that, like the problem that you dealt with and like why it was a huge problem and how you went about solving it over time.
Yes. So one of the biggest issues I saw with having the second store that wasn't truly the same store, it was going to be different. Spellcrafter has about 60% crossover of inventory as the Healing Hedge Witch. It's just, it has different things. So Hedge Witch is garden. We call it just a lot of love and light happening there. And Spellcrafter is just for people who want to take their practice maybe a little deeper and has more in the way of true ritual supplies, a different kind of books. I'm more mindset at Hedge Witch, and Spellcrafter is just a little more ritual and a little witchier. So there's the crossover, but then there's specific things that are only carried in each of the stores. And I was really struggling with, how do I have one set of inventory that feeds online for 2 stores and then also feeds the point of sale system for 2 stores. So really I have my warehouse location is where I have that turned on for my 2 point of sales, I have that turned on for the 2 online stores, the e-commerce part of it. But then I transfer from the warehouse to the 2 different point of sale stores, the physical brick and mortar stores, with doing the internal transfers. And I tried so many different ways to solve that problem. Even sketching it out, I couldn't even really visualize how to solve that. And once I finally sketched it out, and we were already using Shopinventory just for the reports and other things. And I thought, we're going to have to upgrade to Shopify Plus. We're going to have to do all this stuff. And after pursuing that route, they were like, no. And I thought, well, I think maybe Shopinventory does this. And I reached out into some of my shopkeeper friends, and nobody had really done it that way. But then once I had a meeting with someone in customer support, the minute they saw my sketch, they were like, oh yeah, that's what we do. And I was like, oh, great. And it didn't even cost me any more money for my plan I already had. So I felt so much like that was going to hold me back. I thought it was going to be really complicated, or that I was going to have the same products in 2 different inventories, which really made me stressed, just from a purchasing nightmare kind of thing. But no, it's not like that. And it's working so well.
That's great. And I'm sure some of the folks listening to this are going to be curious about, Spellcrafter combined with the Healing Hedge Witch. So are those under one single business entity, or do you have 2, or like how are you structuring this?
So I did keep it as one LLC structured. The Healing Hedge Witch is the entity. And then I did a fictitious name filing with the state of Florida. That's just how they handle it. Other states may do it differently, but through the state of Florida, I could then do a fictitious name for Spellcrafter. And then all of my accounting is through one spot. I only use one accounting umbrella. My state sales tax is through that one umbrella rather than having to do 2 filings. I do track some of my expenses separately, like the rent for one location versus the other, and some utilities are tracked separately. But it enables me to really just pull all of the cost of goods sold, all of the everything's kind of like, lumped together for that purpose. But then I just use reporting to separate out. So I could track the sales separately, but for the purposes of accounting, it's all in one bucket.
Got it. And was there a decision-making process there when you decided to just do a fictitious name as opposed to setting up like a whole new entity?
Yes, it really just came down to expenses and time. I didn't want to have to maintain 2 different sets of books, pay for 2 different tax filings, my accountant, like all of those kinds of things. I didn't really see an upside. I thought through it, and I thought, well, the only upside would be like preserving somehow the name. But I had already done a trademark filing for the name, so I thought, there's really no real need to have that extra expense.
Okay. No, that makes sense. I'm just curious. So tell me a little bit about your role. What are you spending your time on the day-to-day doing, and what do you enjoy doing the most?
So I do still have my quote real job. I don't like to say that, but it is the job that is the number one for me. I've been building this business, and I'm a big part of it as the CFO and vice president here. That's still my main thing. So I have a big team, including my daughter. And so I get to participate in the buying. I do a lot of the data massaging. It's probably why I like to geek out on the Shopinventory side of things, because I love data. But I don't get to spend as much time in the store as I'd like. But at least once a week, I'm in the Hedge Witch, and I don't really spend as much time in Spellcrafter. That is kind of Madison's thing. It really just made sense for us to. She's been a big part of the Healing Hedge Witch since day one. She has always done our customs. We make our own candles and oils and ritual kits and a few things. That's the stuff that we sell wholesale. She's always been the brain behind that and the person who was making them. And when she made our spell candles, we call them, they were all about intentional feelings like courage and clarity and love and abundance, very like specific feelings. And she really wanted to make some that were more action-based, like true ritual spells. And I was very adamant that didn't really have a place in my store at the Healing Hedge Witch. And so it kind of evolved into, in St. Petersburg, Florida, where it's a much different community than Tarpon Springs, we're in the same county, but we're eons apart in terms of the vibe and the way that community is. Spellcrafter was perfect for St. Petersburg, so we ended up there. And so I have, a lot of people doing a lot of things for me, but I get to show up for the fun things like the buying trips. We go to buy rocks at Tucson and Denver twice a year, my favorite part of it. We go to all the big shows, and I get to be in the store on, event days, Saturdays. We do a lot of gatherings and workshops. I'm always there for those, but that's why they're always held at night and weekends, is because of my day job.
Okay. Got it. What kind of events do you guys do?
We do a new moon and a full moon gathering at every new and full moon every month. And it's just really where people come together to talk about current energies, how they're feeling, nothing crazy. We have a make your own spell candle workshop where you get to choose your own scents and toppings and crystals and things to go on them. It's very popular. And some plant-based workshops. We do some like tarot classes and psychic mediumship development courses. We do have readers in-house several days a week at Hedge, and then coming soon at Spellcrafter. We're still kind of under construction there. We're not 100% done with the reader room, but we will be. So just those kinds of things are always going on a regular basis. We have a team meeting at the Tarpon Springs location where some 14 to 17-year-olds kind of come together just to talk about nature, energy, how they're feeling. It's really become like a community coaching session where we all get together and just kind of leave feeling better.
Okay. No, wonderful. How do you go? Because when I'm listening to you talk, I'm kind of hearing you might have like a pretty close like following and, repeat consumers, repeat customers, sort of thing. So how do you, what have you done to like foster the development of that? And like, what do you do to keep, these folks coming back to you guys?
I think that offering the community aspect is an important piece of it. We are very true to our mission when it comes to the things that we carry in the store. And if oftentimes people will say, oh, you should carry this and that, like that would really sell well. And we just don't carry things just because they'll sell well. I mean, I understand that, but the things that we carry sell well. And I'd rather be very true to what my person is looking for. And if they are seeking a way to feel better, it all starts, for me, it starts with your brain. And so I'm just providing all the tools and things they can have to kind of just live more intentionally. It's all, I think on the window, it says about intentional living at the front of our store. And that's what we're just giving everybody those tools. So I think just having that, they do get what they need. And then they do feel better just from the, I guess, being in the world of like belief and what's possible.
Yeah.
And then they come back for that. We do at the end of every purchase, you get to pull an intention card. That's what we call them. And it's just a little message meant to find you today. I always say it, it's true. And we have 101 of them, and we made them, and it's our thing. And you get to pull one, and it's like everybody just loses their minds over it. They just love it. And they'll come in the shop just to get to pull a card. Like, what's my message today?
And that's a card. That's like a deck you have sitting for anyone that comes in at any time during the day, or just during like the classes, or what? Maybe
anytime you make a purchase, like at the end of your experience at the cash wrap, you pick your card.
Got it.
And it's in this message meant to find you today. And it's some that we did develop them. Actually, Madison did the messages, and we have them printed like in it. So it looks like a tarot card, but it's just our little.
That's awesome. And Madison made those. Do you guys do anything with like loyalty, like, stamps or anything like that? You know what I'm thinking of?
No, yes, I do. And we've entertained it, and really we kind of keep coming back to, we have created a lot of loyalty with the experience. So we just haven't gone there. And it's not because I don't want to. We're big on giving things away with purchase, or like there's just a lot of things that we do to give back. And so we've decided that we'd like to spend resources that way rather than through a true loyalty program. We've even downloaded a couple of apps, and for some reason it can't get traction in our own brains. And the way we live our lives is usually, if it's hard, then it's not meant to be for us. So we've just shelved it.
That's funny.
And one day it might come back around.
No, totally. Yeah, it's just not the right time. Yeah, no, I definitely get that. What are some of like the big things that you guys are working on right now that are potentially problematic, or just the big focuses of, growth for you guys?
So one of the big ones, we're expanding the Hedge location a little bit to have more space for retail. And it's just navigating how do you stay open? We're open 7 days a week. How do you stay open 7 days and then also to get that construction done? And then just those overall growth point, like growth is hard in all kinds of ways. And it's fun and we're having a good time, but yeah, expanding a location, you need to add the square footage to increase your dollars in a brick and mortar. And then we're doing that at Hedge, and then also the new store at Spellcrafter. It's just a lot of investment, and making that decision is in some ways difficult, but in some ways easy. It's easy because it feels right, and it has been easy in terms of the right location popping up, and our landlord in St. Petersburg was very amenable to having several months of rent abatement while we were getting ready to open and things like that. So when things like that happen, that again, kind of the flip side of the loyalty card, we feel it like it's right. Yeah. And as someone who's used to getting things done quickly, I think that just that's happening a little slower. So for me, it's slowing down and letting things just roll out. Like, I often feel like I'm drinking out of a fire hose all the time. And I have to remind myself that I'm the one who has her hand on that little spigot that controls the flow. I tend to forget that part.
Totally. Yeah. And I think you and every business owner out there has that same feeling. So, on that note specifically, do you have any tips for how to, potentially prioritize that fire hose? Like, like there's Eisenhower matrix, the least amount of effort to highest amount of, outcomes sort of a thing. Like, do you do anything like that?
Unofficially and in my own brain, okay. When I get a little spun up and I start feeling like, oh, all these things are just a mess, and this is a mess and that's wrong, and just you got to get in that space of I don't like that space. I just sit down and say, okay, really, what's wrong today? Okay, is it that and what I come back with is nothing really is wrong. Usually it's really nothing is wrong. Okay, the back of the store, we have not had as many. A good example, we haven't had as many workshops lately because of the construction going on. And what used to be a workshop space is now going to be a new library area, where we can have a more immersive experience with the books and decks than we have right now. While that's happening, we aren't having the workshops. Also, Madison and I lead those spell candle workshops. And she's very busy getting Spellcrafter opened up. We just had the grand opening March 23rd, like a month ago. And I'm like, oh, well, yep, we're not having them. And it's okay. Like just giving yourself that permission that it's okay. It might not be ideal. It might not be what people want. People might be asking for it. I have to get myself in the space of, I'm just creating demand for this summer when I have all that space.
Got it. Yeah.
Even though I'm not making everybody happy today, and that's okay.
Okay. Well, Christine, we're going to be wrapping up here real quick. So I have 5 rapid fire questions for you. They're somewhat rapid fire. We'll see how it goes. But 5 quick questions, and then we'll go and call it a day. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Cool. So what would you say is your fastest growing sales or marketing channel?
My daughter's podcast. Is that what you mean? Or yes.
No, that's perfect. Yeah. What's the podcast about?
It's Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison, and it is about demystifying magic. And they launched last May and just have been met with some very quick success that's made online crazy.
Really? Wow.
Compared to where we were. Yeah.
Did they go into the podcast with the intention of using the podcast as a marketing channel, or we want to put together a podcast just for fun and talk about fun stuff, and then it turned into a marketing channel?
Yes, it turned into a marketing channel. I mean, I think there was always that hope for them. Molly and Madison met on TikTok a few years ago and just really have a lot in common, and yet they're very different. One's very, my daughter's very much witchier than maybe Molly used to be. So they had this dichotomy going on that just worked. And so, and I think because they decided to do it because, well, everybody would love to listen to these conversations we have of her, her used to be skeptic mind of Molly versus Madison's mind. They just have a good time with it. And that's how it started. And I think that that authenticity comes through and they enjoy it from that perspective. And so, yeah, I've been shocked. I've never been one to be into like influencer marketing or anything like that. just because I thought, oh, it's a world I don't want to even know about. But when I see how that translates, I'm shocked in a lot of ways.
No, that's great. So demystifying magic with Molly Madison. Let's take a look. Number 2, what's your favorite resource? And it can be like a blog or a YouTube channel or a book or anything like that to grow your skills or to grow your business.
Ooh, it's hard to pick one, but it's podcasts for sure. Okay. And I listen to several favorites that are in different aspects. Like I do have an e-commerce one that I love. So the Social Sales Girls has an e-commerce side that I love. And then Savvy Shopkeeper is more brick and mortar. So if you really have to look at, they're very different, the brick and mortar versus the e-commerce side. So I kind of split it that way. And then there's some Shopify e-commerce marketing podcasts that are just really good. Sometimes I'll just go in and search for my issue in Shopify for a podcast and I find all kinds of nuggets.
Really? That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So Social Sales Girl, Savvy Shopkeeper, and then the Shopify's e-commerce marketing podcasts. All right. Wonderful. Number 3, what's the piece of technology that you cannot live without in your business?
Like specifically, what piece of technology?
Yeah.
Like,
it could be like a project management tool or a payroll solution or something like anything like that.
That's a tough one because I'm a very literal person. Like the best. And there's so many, I'm like, like the internet, like, is that too broad? I'll say, sorry. I know you have some.
No, you're fine.
I know there's something I'm not thinking about. I mean, for sure Shopify, but that feels so, Shopify is right up there, but it feels like that's.
What about a favorite Shopify app?
Oh, Shop-Inventory for sure. I'm not kissing up there. That's the truth.
I appreciate it, but okay. Shopify. Do you use anything for project management? I know you have a lot of projects going on right now.
Yeah, we use Trello for some stuff, Notion for some other things. And then actually, I just started using the new AI Motion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen they advertise all over the place, the Motion AI calendar.
So I am very neurodivergent, if you didn't notice. And that has been a game changer for me, for sure.
Really?
For me personally. Yeah, it's just, people talk about AI is going to take over the world. And I'm like, you can't even scan my email and tell me where I need to be this afternoon by finding the email. I don't think you're going to take over the world. That one actually will, at least look at all my calendars between my manufacturing business uses Teams and Google, I got it all pulls together. And then the way it reshuffles your deck of tasks based on priority.
Really?
So key for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. Yeah. I've seen them come up a lot. So Motion AI, the calendar tool. So anyone listening, go check it out. Number 4, what piece of advice would you have for business owners that are ready to start really growing?
Have the faith that you can do things that seem like you can't. Like I find that so many people they let the fear of failure or other things, and it seems so trite to say that out loud. But when I see some of the amazing things that people are accomplishing and they're just not that spectacular, they're just all in and they just are not going to stop until it works. And I think that if you can just get there on that dedication. And in one of my shopkeeper groups, when I hear people talk a lot about they're very debt averse, and I'm coming from a privileged place because I have a really good job that I've been building for 20 years. So I was able to fund a lot of my growth myself. But no matter what, I would never invest money in the stock market before I would invest in myself, because that's where I have control is with myself. Right. So Why would I invest in GE and they can do whatever before I would invest in myself? So I think that when people don't have that feeling about it, and so then they get afraid and they think that actually their money is safer with someone else, I disagree with that.
Yeah, that's great. Appreciate that. Number 5, this is an easy one. Where can our listeners find you? So go ahead and plug yourself.
So we are everywhere for the Healing Hedge Witch at Healing Hedge Witch on Instagram and Facebook. That's where we mostly hang out. I would love to be on TikTok more, but we're just not. I will just continue to consume that content and not make any. And then for Spellcrafter, it's at Shop Spellcrafter at Instagram. and Facebook, mostly Instagram for them. And then at Demystify Magic for the podcast.
Okay. So at Shop Spellcrafter, at the Healing Hedge Witch, and at Demystify Magic.
Yes.
All right. And then what's your website?
That is thehealinghedgewitch.com and shopspellcrafter.com.
All right. Perfect. Well, thanks so much, Christine. It was great chatting with you. Have a great rest of your day.
Good to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Power Up by Thrive. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into strategies that you can use to grow your business. If you're ready to take these ideas into the real world, head over to thrivemetrics.com. That's THRIVEMETRICS.com to sign up for a 30-day free trial of our business management software.